So Playboi Carti out here catching bees, beefing, his blood history. We finna get into it, bro. Oh, we finna hop into this war, man.
In the modern rap culture, some cities and their rap scenes are almost synonymous with their gang culture. The most famous example, of course, being Chicago, the birthplace of drill music that single-handedly brought gangs back to the forefront of the broader rap scene since the 90s gangster rap boom. Within the Chicago rap scene, the specific gang affiliations and rivalries of the artists are as big a part of the scene as the music itself. Atlanta, on the other hand, is almost the polar opposite of Chicago in this sense, or at least it used to be. Atlanta has become known as the Black Hollywood, the capital of modern rap culture, and the birthplace of the most prevalent subgenre of rap for about 2 decades now. I'm of course talking about trap music. But while the drug dealer focused trap music would also bring some notoriety to the gangs of Atlanta, this would begin in a much more generic sense. Because while it wasn't exactly a secret that the early pioneers of trap like Gucci Mane, Waka Flocka Flame, T.I. and Young Jeezy might have had street affiliations, their exact gang ties and rivalries were never really a topic of much discussion in the lyrics or amongst fans. Moreover, Atlanta's street gang history is relatively short and simple compared to many of the other major rap cities of America like New York and Los Angeles.
Oh. Okay. Hey, I'm learning something. So YouTube, y'all like when I don't put my face in the thumbnail. Like, I'm just gonna leave that for my vlogs. Hey, I'm dropping a new vlog coming soon, but YouTube, they liking when I don't put myself in the thumbnail. All right. Let me figure out and found the YouTube glitch, man. Hey, I'm telling you,
while these cities were already struggling with out-of-control gang wars and record-breaking murder rates brought by the 80s and 90s crack epidemic, Atlanta was only just beginning to experience rising tensions, with the newspapers at the time reporting how Atlanta was in the very early stages of gang evolution, with a few gangs existing still lacking any identifying symbols, colors, and other markers that the gangs in LA, NY, and Chicago were rocking. Nor did the Atlanta gangs have much organizational structure, but they were still getting their hands on serious weapons and sparking fear into the community. But still, in 1988, law enforcement estimated there only to be about 5 gangs in Atlanta, which, to be fair, likely also says something about the tendency of police at the time to downplay the risk of gangs in the city, which had so far avoided much of the mayhem that was going on in many other major cities across the US. Some reporters would accuse Atlanta officials of pretending that gangs weren't a problem in the city and sweeping things under the rug, but later that year, the local papers would report how even the feds were now beginning to look into the gangs operating in Atlanta, with one gang name in particular being repeated often, the Miami Boys, a Miami-originating drug dealing crew who were attempting to expand beyond the borders of Florida. Coming into the 90s, the feds would finally admit that the gangs were in Atlanta for good, and while they were still mostly small in scale, they were evolving fast. The newspapers began to publish more in-depth looks at these gangs, showing how they had adopted the habits and even identities and symbols of major gangs from LA and Chicago, using graffiti to mark their territory and showcasing their allegiance with LA gangs like Crips, Bloods, and Pyrus, and Chicago gangs like Gangster Disciples and Vice Lords. However, the authorities considered these gangs to largely be wannabes who weren't actually connected with the real national blood gangs. This might have been true in the late 2000s, or it might have simply been wishful thinking, but by the mid-2010s, the newspapers would report how the national gangs had begun infiltrating Metro Atlanta at the start of the decade, and this infiltration has now arguably taken over the entire city. So when it comes to modern Atlanta, there's only one gang that arguably controls the streets of Atlanta more than any other. That's the Bloods. However, the name the Bloods at this point is simply an umbrella term that refers to numerous gang sets that may or may not get along with each other. And while the Bloods originate from Los Angeles, in Atlanta, there are only a few.
I don't understand that shit because I'm from Oakland, bro, and it's just like Bloods ain't never get to the Bay. Like, they got them in Stockton and Sac and stuff like that, but like, people say that's not the Bay, but when you move from the Bay, bro, I call all that shit the Bay, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, I call all that shit NorCal the Bay. When you leave that land, you're gonna realize it's all the same, right? But in Oakland, we don't really do the Blood, Crip, and all that shit. It's just on based off where you from and shit, and it's like little cliques. But like, I know Philly like that too. Mainly a lot of places like that, but when it comes to them cities that's like, oh yeah, we GD, we Blood, but it didn't start there. I used to think all their ass was just capped out, but as I got older, I realized that all it takes is a nigga in jail and somebody that's from that set to move to this place, and bam, you know, like for example, you think it's not real Bloods in Vegas, real Bloods in Arizona, shit, like it's real members everywhere. You know what I'm saying? You can't just not think niggas ain't stamped because they not in the original city. Cause this shit is all, that's what they want anyway, is global network. So this shit makes sense as I got older.
blood sets that rep these original West Coast ties, with the Inglewood family, better known in Atlanta as the IF gang, perhaps being one of the most prominent examples. But to the contrary, the blood sets in Atlanta primarily have their roots in the East Coast, more specifically New York, where many blood gangs began forming during the 90s in the infamous Rikers Island prison, where black inmates were struggling to survive against the Hispanic inmates who at the time were much more unified and belonged to much larger and well-organized gangs. This eventually led to the formation of the so-called United Blood Nation, or UBN, which according to the authorities originally included 5 sets: the 1-8 Trey Gangsters, Money Murder, Valentine Gangster Bloods, G-Shine, and the 9 Trey Gangsters. These sets quickly begun moving down the East Coast, primarily to push dope, eventually creating local branches of their sets in states like Virginia and North and South Carolina, eventually also Georgia, where most of the original 5 UBN sets now operate, including 1-8 Trey Gangsters, G-Shine, and the 9 Trey Gangsters, but especially Money Murder, which may currently be the single most influential gang in the metro Atlanta area. As the story goes, Money Murder, or SMM, was founded by a New York gangster named Peter Rolak, aka Pistol Pete, who hailed from the Soundview projects in the Bronx. However, like the overall Bloods moniker, Money Murder 2 is just an umbrella term for numerous smaller sets, or lines as they're called within SMM, with the authorities claiming that the dominant line in Georgia is currently known as 45 Worldwide, or simply 45WW, a group which further has several smaller lineups or cliques, such as KMB, Venom Line, Hot Wheel, X Line, and Frontline. These smaller factions largely act independently, but share certain common characteristics, like typically repping one of 2 colors, red or green, while sometimes referring to themselves with common nicknames. Money Murder, like Murder Gang, Blazers, or BBO for Blazing Billy Only, Two Gun Gang, or Trendy. This last name perhaps explaining the extremes that some of the biggest rappers affiliated with Money Murder have taken unusual fashion choices, making it almost seem like the zestier the savage, the higher they'll climb on the gang's ladder. But the reality is, no matter how unusual you think Carti's clothes are, in the streets, he's respected, and the group that he rolls with are nothing to play with. Playboi Carti is allegedly affiliated with some of the small cliques or lineups under the Money Murder umbrella, most notably a set known as the Homicide Gang, as well as their very close ally called 800. Homicide Gang's origins are interestingly based on a record label that was also functioning as an alleged gang called DTE, or Duct Tape Entertainment. Founded around 2005 by the CEO of the label called Big Bank Black, or simply Big Bank, real name Rashad Halsey Sr., together with the rapper Alley Boy. This was following the arrest of Alley Boy and Big Bank for pistol and drug charges, which saw Alley Boy going to jail and Big Bank getting probation. Founded while Alley Boy was still in prison, they would start pushing Duct Tape following his release in October 2005.
But I had just got out of prison, and we were pushing the Duct Tape. And I say I got out of prison in 2000, at the end of 2005, October.
Alley Boy would explain to a humble soul on YouTube that the name Duct Tape was used interchangeably between their hood and the label.
Like, that was the whole thing with Duct Tape, period, all together. Like, we were looking at it as a label, but we still was just looking at it like, but this our hood, this our, you know what I mean? So when you say Duct Tape, we were down there saying our hood, you know what I'm saying?
DTE hailed from East Atlanta, aka Zone 6, more Edgewood.
Dirty land, dirty sticks, bad bitch get hit, put a nigga on a lick, rob a nigga for a brick.
The many neighborhoods around downtown Atlanta that's experienced recent gentrification. Besides Alley Boy, perhaps the most notable artist on the label was the late rapper Trouble, and the label has been connected with contemporary rappers like Future and 21 Savage. These associations likely at least partly bring due to their shared affiliation with the Money Murder, with both Future's Free Bands Gang, aka FBG, and 21's Slaughter Gang having confirmed ties, and having many members that rep this set of the Bloods. Sometime during the mid-2010s, some of the younger kids connected to DTE began repping the Homicide Gang. Originally also going by EH, or Extortion Homicide, during the mid-2010s, some of the earliest Homicide-affiliated rappers, like the rapper formerly known as Homicide Doody, later known as Problem Child 5, would perform under the Duct Tape Entertainment, being apparently hand-picked by Big Bank himself. Also, the 800 set, also known as 800 BBS, or 800 block back street, which literally hails from around the 800 block of Smith Street in the Pittsburgh neighborhood. This was an area where many of the Homicide members grew up, and the neighborhood has been affiliated with Duct Tape Entertainment for a long time, with a house there even formally showcasing art repping both 800 and DTE. And Big Bank would mention how he was pushing artists from this set in his interviews.
I got a whole crew. I'm still, you know, bringing the next generation of this Duct Tape.
They didn't give me no trouble.
I don't even want to call their names out, but there's a whole new crew coming. The whole 800 back street. They're coming hard, like.
DTE was also close with other older sets from the Edgewood area, such as a set called the Runts, who were even included on the FBI's National Gang Threat Assessment in 2011. The name Runts is of course familiar to many fans of modern Atlanta rap due to the rapper Ola Runt, who's in fact part of the younger generation of the Runts. He actually used to rep DTE as well all the way back in 2010. Now, the younger generation of the Runts goes by the name Henchmen, with their other notable rappers being guys like Benji Bluebills, Rue the Savage, and 24 Left Eye, who has become a target of some pretty controversial rumors in recent times. Henchmen are notorious in Atlanta for being perhaps the most hated gang in the city, with little to no allies and many enemies. But regardless, Henchmen and Homicide Gang were seemingly close in the beginning, although they've had certain organizational differences. For example, Homicide Gang appears to be under the dominant Money Murder line in Georgia, the 45 Worldwide, whereas the Henchmen are under a different line called G20 or B20. There are also other blood gang alliances in Atlanta, with Homicide Gang being affiliated with the so-called 4L Alliance, which includes sets like Slaughter Gang, 1504 aka PDE, and Young Brew 4L, while the Henchmen rep another moniker.
That's why the gang shit is so crazy, because you'll be beefing with niggas in your own gang. Then you'll be beefing with niggas in your own gang, within your own gang, while you beefing with niggas in your gang and your ops, like, and the police on you, and a bitch might line you up. It's too much going on, like.
5L. When the national blood gangs first began operating in the Atlanta region, there were relatively high levels of unity between these different factions. But while the gang membership has risen in the state of Georgia heavily, particularly during the past years, the gangs have also become increasingly splintered, with a confusing mix of small cliques and increasingly complex alliances and rivalries characterizing the current landscape. For reasons that we'll get into more later, a breakdown would also take place between the Homicide Gang and the Henchmen during the late 2010s. According to the Georgia law enforcement, the breakdown has also taken place amongst the higher-up factions of Money Murder that these two sets are a part of, with the dominant 45 Worldwide line that Homicide Gang is a part of allegedly stating that the G20 line of the Henchmen is not recognized in the state. Likely related to the breakdown between these two sets, Homicide Gang would seemingly stop being active in the Edgewood area, instead moving down completely to the hood of the 800 set in the Pittsburgh neighborhood in Zone 3. Ever since Atlanta got rid of all of their large public housing projects, the gangs in Atlanta have also become less tied to one specific place, and instead, members of a single gang set can have presence in many different locations all over the metro Atlanta area, with law enforcement claiming that Homicide Gang actually has presence from East Atlanta and DeKalb County all the way to Clayton County. The same document reveals that the police have been investigating the Homicide Gang since the beginning of 2022, and it would also label Ola Runt as the most prominent member of the Henchmen, while perhaps somewhat surprisingly labeling PlayboiCarti as one of the most prominent members of the Homicide Gang too. This might come as a surprise to some fans who only knew Carti for his baby voice raps and questionable fits, but in the eyes of law enforcement, Carti is a shot-calling and high-ranking blood. So to truly understand how Carti managed to get to the very top of both Atlanta gang politics and the music scene, we need to go all the way back to the beginning. Not that much is known about Carti's early life gang connections, but the consensus amongst the fans appears to be that Carti was not heavily gang affiliated whilst he was growing up, and his old high school mate from the Creekside High that Carti attended for a period of time would later tell how Carti appeared to be from a fairly well-off family.
He always had the latest shoes.
Pretty soon, if you watching this, you're gonna be a millionaire, man. Hey, like, comment 9 right now if you're gonna be a millionaire by 2030, bro. No cap.
Whoever his mom was, I'm pretty sure she up. She will take.
Y'all need to go watch his page.
Like, bro had a. I ain't gonna be the one to be like, oh, he wasn't hood or nothing like that. But all I'm saying is, he wasn't doing bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was fresh as hell.
I believe it.
Whoever his mom was, or dad, they had
already seen it.
In his earliest songs, like the song 36 Villains from his 2012 mixtape Young Misfit, Carti would simply rep the south side of Atlanta without any references to a specific gang. But already back then, he was clearly well connected all over the city, making songs with other underground rappers from areas like East Atlanta, aka Zone 6. According to Carti himself, he would also get into quite a lot of trouble in Zone 6 in the early 2010s by hitting licks with his old friends like the rappers Man Savage and Fat Man Key.
My mom and dad, you know what I'm saying, they ain't go to college, but they ain't have me broke, you know what I'm saying, they want broke, you know what I mean?
Okay,
I ain't
for sure,
these,
Carti.
I jumped out the point. Mom and dad's in the subs. I was like, man, I don't want to be on it. I was in zone 6. I'm in 3. I'm in the 6. Fat Man Key, Man Savage. He in licks, bro.
Like, I ain't got shit. Y'all understand? I used to have this shit on my page. Like, this back when this shit was cool, when a nigga had like one little snippet of a rapper on his page. Like, but it's one of them snippets that you'll post. Like, before it was like motivational clips and shit. It'd be like shit like this. Like, it'd just be a clip like, bro, when I seen this nigga, and it's crazy because, bro, I was watching this vlog 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and now my partner in the same room as Ian Connor, fucking with him, working with him, and he recognizing him, and he pay attention to him. I'm like, bro, nigga, we was watching this shit 8, 9 years ago, watching the scene, I'm like, bro, nigga, I'll do. That time, I'm like, nigga, I'll do anything to live this life, nigga. What? Nigga used to make that shit look so cool, so that's why I don't be too, like, pressed about the kids, like, oh, y'all listening to Carti now, this and that, bro. This we was watching. This shit wasn't like, he wasn't vamp life and all that weird shit, but some people probably already seen, like, he was a degenerate with his flow and shit like that, and the brain rot type of music or whatever, right? Whatever, like, no lyrics. Yeah, hey, yeah. They didn't like that. It's the same way how niggas don't like shit now, so. But yeah, though, man. That shit was crazy. I just had to yap a little bit. These was the days, though, bro. These was the days.
There are also pictures from that time period posted by Man Savage that showed Carti toting guns, with Carti later reminiscing about these times in the 2020 song Punk Monk, rapping how he was riding around with Man and Key while toting a gun. Soon, Carti would also begin to make references in his music that appeared to be gang-related. Carti would make his affiliations known in lyrics, repping the number 2900 in the song Heavy, a number that he would then begin to repeat on numerous tracks, including an unreleased but eventually leaked song literally titled 2900, where Carti raps how 2900 is his block and how he's got 20 ops and shoots up their block 29 times. In another leaked song known as Essential or Canary Diamonds, Carti even shouts out his 2900 block together with several other gang sets, including of course his good friend Uzi's 1600 block from the Francisville section in North Philly, with Carti and Uzi referencing their respective blocks in their rumored mixtape that never dropped, titled 1629. But also the rapper Young Nudy's PDE set from Paradise East Apartments located in East Atlanta, and 21 Savage's Slaughter Gang, also known as 2100 Slaughter Gang, from the Glenwood Avenue and Glenwood Road area in East Atlanta. Both of these sets later becoming part of the 4L alliance that Homicide Gang affiliates with. The connection between Carti and Slaughter Gang may be partly explained by Carti's alleged family connection to an older set called Black Mob from East Atlanta, who were in fact a precursor to the Slaughter Gang. However, despite Carti often repping the 2900 block in his music, there is a lot of mystery surrounding what the moniker actually means and where this supposed block is located. Some see 2900 as referring to the Highway 29, aka the Roosevelt Highway, which goes through Carti's old stomping grounds in the city of Fairburn, where his early schools like the Bear Creek Middle School and the Creekside High School are located, and where he used to live in a subdivision.
21 Savage when niggas were still listening to music on Spinrilla, bro. Y'all remember Spinrilla? Spinrilla used to have them. Holiday season, nigga.
Called the Oakley Township, according to his childhood friend.
Because I remember he lived in this subdivision called Oakley Township in Fairburn, and they had nice houses. I don't know which house he lived in, but I just remember he lived there.
The 2900 block then perhaps refers to the entire city of Fairburn.
I'm 2900 Southside.
Well, okay, so explain 2900, what that exactly means and where it came from.
Boom, so, you know what I'm saying? From the south side, you know what I'm saying? Like, in Atlanta, south side, it's like College Park. You got Clayco, you know what I'm saying? You got it, and then you got the small ones in between, Union City, Fairburn, you know what I'm saying, Flat Show, you know what I'm saying? And we just always, like, the Union City, like, I grew up around the College Park, Union City, Fairburn area, you know what I'm saying? And now we would call it 2900 because, like, it was, like, different blocks, 25, 20, you know what I'm saying?
But somewhat confusingly, besides seemingly repping Fairburn with 2900, Carti would also rep Zone 3 at the same time, despite Fairburn being far closer to Zone 4, as well as repping the city of Riverdale in Clayton County to the east of Fairburn, where he, according to himself, lived for a long period of time growing up.
That nigga's from everywhere.
And yo, before this rap, man, I was trying to stay out of trouble, duck and twirl, you know? Same bro. From South Atlanta, Riverdale, man. Really, I ain't go to jail. Not too much you can explain. It's more like a place you just gotta get out of.
Carti has seemingly also been affiliated with at least one set from Riverdale, known as RSG, or Rich Slime Gang, who rep the East Coast Blood set 5'9" Brims, and are also known in the Atlanta rap scene due to rappers like Slimacito. The main takeaway here, perhaps.
Cito, bruh. That nigga Cito made a post one time. That nigga Fadi got set up. Fadi was like, I got set up, bruh, by this bitch. That nigga Cito posted with a Glock, wiping his nose, talking about, nobody set you up, I slimed you out. Bro, at the time, bro, that shit was like Bloodhound Lil Jeff. Like, nah, niggas be on Bloodhound Lil Jeff. That shit was like that at the time. I'm like, damn, he robbed our favorite SoundCloud rapper.
being that Carti has always been moving around and making gang connections all over Metro Atlanta. However, when it comes to the 2900 in particular, which Carti repped the most throughout his career, there are also old social media posts that seem to imply 2100 being a specific set from Fairburn, who were apparently beefing with another local set called Goon Squad back in the day, this beef being also connected to Carti's old high school, the Creekside High. And there's even some old posts seemingly implying that 2800 was in fact a blood set, a rumour that's been repeated by fans on Reddit. The following year, as Ian Connor would take over managing Carti, the duo would make their way to Los Angeles, where they would apparently link up with the Campanella Park Pyrus from Compton, this eventually even starting a rumour that they had actually blessed Carti and Ian into the Bloods.
Okay, start calling weed. Check it out.
Blood for real.
Yeah.
And it was around this time that Carti actually begun repping the Bloods in his music on a much more regular basis. He would even start making references to specific Atlanta Blood factions, like in the 2016 song Pressure with Rich the Kid, where he then raps that he's with Slime, this perhaps being a reference to the Riverdale-based Rich Slime Gang, or Young Thug's YSL, aka Young Slime Life, from Cleveland Avenue and Zone 3. Yet Carti would also make sure to shout out his Crip homies, showing that once again he was extremely well connected with different gangs and hoods all over America. There was even a short period of time when Carti was seemingly heavily affiliated with the late Chicago rapper Fredo Santana's Front Street 061 set whilst hanging out with him in LA. However, in one of his most well-known songs, the 2017 Lil Uzi Vert collab Woke Up Like This from his self-titled...
I ain't gonna lie, y'all, I forgot to cut the ad out. Damn, it's gonna be hard for me to remember to cut these ads out, bro. But if it's like one ad, bro, I'm not gonna remember to cut it out because it was just one ad. But if they keep hitting me, then I'm gonna remember. But it's like, bro, you know, give me a break.
Mixtape, Carti makes clear that while he's affiliated with certain gangs like the Compton Pyrus, he's denied being a gangbanger himself. But after Carti would move to New York to chase his rap dream, eventually signing with the ASAP crew, he would also make some gang-related connections there too, like meeting the rapper Jim Jones from the legendary rap collective The Diplomats or Dipset. He's also the rapper to start using the moniker Vamp Life or Vampire Life, with Carti then commonly using the Vamp term during his whole Lotta Red era, as well as more recently starting his own crew or movement called YVL or Young Vamp Life. However, around the same time when Carti was building his rap career in New York with the ASAP mob, he would also spend time in Atlanta recording music, his time there eventually leading him to meet a rapper called Lil One, through Lil One's girlfriend, a rapper known as Red Cold Hearted.
But we ended up meeting Playboi Carti through my girl, so he was already like, from 2016, like we've been rocking with each other since like 2015, me and her, so he been around us since like 2016.
But Lil One wasn't just any random rapper, as his dad, or at least stepdad according to some Redditors, is none other than the Duct Tape Entertainment CEO, Big Bang, which is why Carti can be seen in some pictures wearing DTE merch and hanging with members of DTE, including Big Bang himself. Being part of the young DTE generation, Lil One is also affiliated with the 800 set and Homicide Gang, as he makes clear in his underrated 2019 banger titled 800, as well as another song called Homicide, dropped in 2021 with none other than Carti himself. Other 800 Homicide Gang members that Carti would become close with during this period are people like Big Sosa, who Carti would spend perhaps the most time with, the two doing everything together, from playing basketball and shooting dice to attending baseball games and hanging out in the hood. There's also the rapper Problem Child 5, who some Redditors claim to have been the one who actually stamped Carti into the gang, although this would have perhaps been more likely done by Lil One and Big Bang. Carti would also hang out with members like another rapper called R5 and a young'un called Lil Bino, who Carti would shout out in his 2020 song Stop Breathing. These lyrics also mentioning the rapper Bino, who is one half of a rapper duo together with another Homicide member called Michi, who Carti would eventually sign to his Opium record label under the group name Homicide Gang, in the process turning these hard-nosed gangsters into nocturnal vamp lifers surviving on a diet of lean, blood, and the latest Rick Owens fits, just like the King Vamp himself. Many have considered the relationship between Carti and the Homicide Gang, or 800, to be more like a symbiotic business relationship, where Carti benefits from these gangs bringing him street credibility that he formerly lacked.
These weren't even out when they made them VHS. There's some different kind of bills out there.
Different bills.
I got some of them in the house.
That's crazy.
Meanwhile, the Homicide Gang and 800 obviously benefit greatly from all the attention Carti can bring to their numerous rappers. Not to mention guys like Michi and Bino getting officially signed to Carti's Opium label and no doubt getting a bag for themselves. However, others seem to think that Carti is basically getting friendly extorted by these gangs who use him for clout while supposedly giving him protection, but arguably not.
What? Yeah, that's what a lot of these rappers, bro, especially when you fuck a certain type of hoes and live in a certain type of way and you kind of want to be on the scene. But it's like, I feel like, I don't know, bro. Does this happen to NFL players, NBA players? It's like, why do rappers always find themselves in a position to get extorted? Well, we know based off documents that NBA players be getting extorted in LA and shit, but like, you got to think about our people. Our people is really fucked up. Like, if you get successful, bro, niggas feel so entitled that if you don't share game or help niggas out, they're gonna take you down, bro, in some type of way, or they're gonna try to get up with you. Then it's like you could be somebody. That's why, bro, I give all the game. I just share game, bro, because once I become a millionaire, bro, I'm just gonna share all the game and shit. That's just in my heart to do that. But I'm not gonna do it because of fear of extortion. You feel me? But I feel like a lot of folks, bro, especially when they got certain type of like lifestyles they want to live and shit. You want to go out to the club, you got to eat with your girl, certain shit like that. Man, I'm not checking in with nobody. I don't give a fuck. You niggas gonna have to go to war with me. Fuck that. Fuck that. But what they say, a prophet ain't welcome in their home. So after you go crazy, get the fuck on.
Not having any real love for him as a person. But whatever the truth is, becoming part of a notorious gang in Atlanta does not come without its own hardships, and in recent years, Carti has certainly become familiar with the dark side of the streets. As mentioned, Homicide 800 used to be close with the Henchman gang, and there's numerous photos and videos showing their members together, with Henchman members like Ola Runt making appearances in the music videos for rappers like Lil One. While in the August 2019 music video for Ola Runt's early hit song Feel Like Goo Wop, he can be seen together with Big Bank and Lil One, while actually sporting an 800 shirt himself. Ola was seemingly cool with Carti himself around this time too, shouting him out on his social media. During a November 2019 Hood Rich radio interview, Big Bank would even shout out Ola as the #1 up-and-coming rapper to look out for in Atlanta.
Some of the rappers maybe outside of your crew in Atlanta that you would want the world to pay attention to, that you think might be next to represent the city?
Most definitely Ola Runt. Okay. He got my neighborhood.
Going hard, yep.
Ola, he going nuts right now.
However, soon after, things between Ola and Big Bank would deteriorate quickly, with rumors later circulating that this possibly had something to do with Ola refusing to sign with Bank's DTE label, as during early 2020, it looked like Ola was in fact trying to sign to Gucci Mane's 1017 Records, receiving an iced out chain from Mr. Zone 6 himself.
I was just thinking, maybe it get tricky. That industry get tricky.
I gotta put it on.
Whatever the real reason, Ola would then attack Big Bank on social media, even posting the clip of Bank shouting him out on the radio, while accusing him of being two-faced and actually hating and lying on him behind the scenes. Big Bank would reply in the comments saying that they never tried to sign Ola, and that they instead tried to help him to get signed by numerous people without expecting anything in return, before dissing both Ola and his father. Big Bank was clearly in his feelings, posting also a long message on his own social media, once again dissing both Ola and his dad. Meanwhile, Ola would do far more than just type on social media, dropping a scathing diss track in April 2020 titled Mob Father, Big Bank's nickname, without expecting anything in return.
I really tried to help you because you from my hood, ain't bigger than the bank. The game bigger than the bank. You dissed me, and now when I let the world know,
dissing both Ola and his father. Big Bank was clearly in his feelings, posting also a long message on his own social media, once again.
Little dude, boy, you know you get straight. You know too. You went to jail, sucked a few blood, and now you tough. You and your dad pee straight.
And dissing both Ola and his dad. Meanwhile, Ola would do far more than just type on social media, dropping a scathing diss track in April 2020 titled Mob Father, Big Bank's nickname in Atlanta being the Godfather. But he would diss both Big Bank personally, as well as sets like the Homicide gang, claiming that Bank got ran out of Zone 6 and had to move to 800's hood in Zone 3, and the Homicide gang was scared of the henchmen behind the scenes. Bank and Lil One would react to the song seeming unbothered, while clowning Ola back.
Look at it. You don't look at kids in the video. You ain't telling me.
Meanwhile, Homicide rapper Problem Child 5 would come out with a response diss towards Ola titled PP's Son, PP referring to Ola's father. Ola would keep dissing on social media, going live around the same time of Problem Child's song release and airing out both Bank and Problem Child 5, even taking shots at Carti, calling him a fashion blood who only pretends to gangbang to look cool without even knowing the inner codes of money murder.
Hey, and Problem Child, your daddy name Big O. Big O is a preacher. Y'all heard Big O is a preacher, man. Big O is a preacher and he's a chef. He cook food, no dope. Y'all heard me? My father cooked dope. Y'all heard me? Your father cooked food. You talking about? And then listen, Big Bank stuff your mama when she was like 14. And he was like in his 20s. So like you his stepchild. Do that no more, they just fashion blood. It be fashion banging, man. A lot of fashion blood, they want to dye their hair. They want to, you know what I'm saying? They just want to dye their hair.
Shaking ass.
Like that, man. Be blood just to dye their hair red, man.
He nigga be gay, man. He nigga be gay, man.
Hey, he don't know shit about the set.
Goddamn, what you talking about?
Shit about the royal flush. Shit about the first 5 on the east.
One thing I love about Atlanta is y'all that pig Latin shit. Once I learned about that pig Latin, you know what's crazy? Who Casper taught me that shit came from Atlanta. Like, I didn't know that what pig Latin was. I didn't know what pig Latin was, bro. Like growing up my whole life, I always knew that word, didn't know what it meant or what the fuck, what's going on. But y'all raw as hell for that. I ain't gonna lie, y'all is raw for that. What? It's like they say the whole word backwards to fuck with the. It's like a whole new language, bro, like on some Aztec shit.
But Problem Child would clap back, going live and giving a detailed story of Ola and other henchmen running during a shootout.
Henchman! On my mama, I ain't never seen so many henchmen running at the funeral. I seen running. I seen little left eye. I swear to God, I seen left eye watching Ola get shot at, bro. I swear to God. I swear to God. Ola done went to the right. Left eye was to the left. I said, oh, hell no. Well, I'm following my brother.
Hey.
I'm following my dog.
Hey.
Huh?
That's my left eye to my, he ain't see that.
Y'all good, bro?
But while the beef was getting heated, Ola had some completely other problems to deal with, as he would get arrested at the famous Lenox Mall in Atlanta, with somebody filming the arrest while Ola would speak to the camera, calling Big Bank a snitch.
Man, I Big Bank is the police too, man. Make sure you call that, man. Tell you folks Big Bank a rat, man. All these tell it on me, man. All y'all rats, man. Keep my name out your mouth, man. All y'all
But this shit ain't funny, but like, bro, when I watching this shit, it just give me flashbacks to the Atlanta show, like the Atlanta TV show. Now, I ain't been back to Atlanta. The last time I was in Atlanta was in 2010, bro. 2010, because my family from South Carolina, right? So I got family in Atlanta, too. But, bro, I remember my uncle was selling hella bootleg J's and shit.
Ola's problems with law enforcement wouldn't end there, because already the following month, in June, he would be in trouble once again, this time crashing out in style, going live on Instagram while in the middle of a high-speed chase with the police in Monroe County. The Monroe County Sheriff would later give an update, saying that they had caught Ola hiding in the woods after the chase, whilst also posting a picture of him in handcuffs. Unfortunately, things were about to get even worse for the Homicide gang, because later that month on the 28th of June, whilst Homicide and 800 members were hanging out at their usual location in the 800 block, something would go very wrong, and Carti's perhaps closest friend from the gang, Big Sosa, would end up being shot in the head around 10 PM that night. He would later pass away in the hospital, and Sosa's death would be a major shock for his set, with the rapper R5 even putting out a project titled Everything for Sosa. And Sosa's death would of course affect Carti, who would change his Twitter name to RIP Sosa, and would later give a heartfelt tribute to him during his 2021 Lollapalooza set, whilst also telling the audience that he was living a double life, and that when he wasn't rocking out shows as a rap superstar, he was, quote, in the streets for real.
You know, I lost my brother recently. His name was Sosa, and I really loved him so much, and y'all just, you know what I'm saying, we could talk about this another day. I just gotta understand, like, I mean, you know what I'm saying, I got 2 different lives, and when I'm not being King Vamp, and not this, I'm in the streets for real, so let's do it.
This speech leading to the performance of the song Die for Guy, where Carti raps how he's ready to die for his friends. Later in an interview with the Marvin magazine, Carti would explain how the latest song, Stop Breathing, is actually another side of him that he doesn't even want his fans to see, seemingly implying that the song's aggressive message, where Carti screamed how all he's been able to think about after the death of Sosa is homicide, is too raw a look into his mind, which was seemingly being haunted by thoughts of violence and revenge. Lil One would reveal during his October 2024 interview with Dirty Glove Bastard Media how the song Homicide by him and Carti was another tribute for Sosa.
It's like, all this going on, Sosa passed, he called me like, bro, we gotta do one for Sosa. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to.
Problem Child, who would claim to have been at the scene shortly before the incident that claimed Sosa's life, would also write a heartfelt message to him, saying how he was blaming himself for what happened for leaving Sosa on the scene without him. It's still not clear what exactly happened that led up to Sosa's death in his home turf, but there have been some wild rumors, some of them actually blaming Problem Child for allegedly backdooring Sosa and getting him killed. These rumors would get further amped up when Problem Child would first get booked in September 2020 for numerous very serious charges, before getting released in June 2021 and then getting booked again in September, this time having an insane rap sheet that listed 4 felony murders, with one of these murder charges being the murder of Sosa, according to some Reddit sleuths. However, others have pointed out that the offense date for all of his crimes is listed as the 1st of October 2019, which would obviously rule out Sosa being one of the victims, although it seems equally unlikely that he in fact committed 4 murders during one day. But whatever happened, the henchmen were rejoicing Sosa's death like they had been the one sliding, and they would go on a dissing rampage, with rappers like 24 Left Eye and Ola Runt leading the charge and dropping numerous lyrics referencing the murder of Sosa and claiming to be smoking him. But unfortunately for
Whoa, that's hella songs. I didn't know they dropped that many songs. I never even heard the Sosa smoking the loop.
One day. But whatever happened, the henchmen were rejoicing Sosa's death like they had been the ones sliding, and they would go on a dissing rampage with rappers like 20.
See, when you read my lyrics, every song that I make, people might say, oh, you cringe. Like I had somebody say today, oh, that's not it, bro. That's not it. But when you read my lyrics and write them out, you gonna be like, damn, that shit fire. Like, damn, he said some shit. Ooh, that's fire. When I read this shit, it's just like, you want niggas to just be like, damn, this all you could say? This all you could think of saying? Halloween coming, she gonna dress up like Harley Quinn, and I'm gonna be a Joker. She want the dope better than me. I'm planning how we gonna set up Sosa. Okay, I ain't gonna lie. That one was decent. That one was actually a decent like thing. Let me see. Long live Sammy. I can't go out like Sosa. Found him stretched out like he do yoga. Like, bro, come on, bro. Front Street, everybody smoking on Sosa. Bags in, we gonna sell it like Kroger. Like, shut up, bro. Shut up, bro. Shut up with that country ass action, country ass.
Before Left Eye and Ola Runt leading the charge and dropping numerous lyrics referencing the murder of Sosa and claiming to be smoking him. But unfortunately for Ola Runt, he wouldn't be rejoicing for too long, because in late 2020, he was snatched up by the FBI as part of their infamous Operation Phoenix, which targeted some of the worst violent offenders in the city, the same operation famously leading to the arrest of none other than Lil Woody, the infamous informant from the YSL Rico trial. As a result of this arrest, Ola would be out the streets for some time, but meanwhile, Carti was preparing to drop his second studio album, Whole Lotta Red, which he had been teasing and promising at this point for literally years. But this album would turn out to be nothing like Carti's previous work that he had become known for, like the self-titled mixtape from the debut album Die Lit, where he would mostly rap about girls, designer clothes, and drugs on top of chill and floaty beats by producers like Pierre Bourne. This album would for the first time reveal to the world the real Carti, who was seemingly deeper in Atlanta gang politics than anyone could have possibly imagined. After Carti's 2018 album Die Lit went down as one of the most glazed trap albums in rap history, fans got on their knees and pleaded for Carti to drop again. After Carti dropped two projects back-to-back in 2017 and 2018, many people thought he would be coming back in 2019, but they forgot this is a man who loves to tease albums and never drop them. Despite making two classics, Carti would indulge in a legendary game of cat and mouse with his fans, edging them on for an excruciating 800.
I'm not buying that. Carti ain't never did no drills.
59 days, characterized by over 2 years of cryptic tweets, leaked snippets, and mostly silence from Carti. This would turn posts on Carti's subreddit from fan posts into group therapy sessions. The hype all began in July 2018, just 2 months after Die Lit dropped, when Carti teased a snippet called Cancun, and in it, he rubbed cash on his bare stomach whilst rapping My Stummy Hurt, which would become an instant meme. By August, Carti finally gave his next project a name, Whole Lotta Red, his title being a nod to his blood ties and love of crimson-drenched lean. But Carti being Carti, dangled the album like a carrot, teasing unreleased tracks at shows and then vanishing again. Rumors would swirl, and based on those close to him, the album was due in 2019. The next month in April, a legendary song called Pissy Pamper aka Kid Cudi, a collab with Young Nudie, would leak online. This one was a banger, mainly due to the hypnotic beat with an infectious sample and Carti's mesmerizing baby voice that he used on the track. Fans were desperate for this song, and an unofficial upload posted by a random person on Spotify would actually shoot to #1 on the viral charts. Ultimately though, the success of the leak may have destroyed chances of the song releasing officially, leading many to believe that Carti was forced to make numerous changes to his Whole Lotta Red album due to his intended songs circulating early. By late June, chaos erupted when 5 unreleased Playboi Carti tracks would mysteriously surface on his official Apple Music account, one being the already released Green and Purple with Travis Scott, and another a collab with Chicago's G Herbo. Carti rushed to Instagram claiming that he'd been hacked, the caption saying, "I hate leaks, leave me alone." By this time, the leaks must have been getting under Carti's skin, with him even stopping the music at one performance and asking the crowd how they even knew one of his unreleased songs. County, Georgia, an incident that Blackie Speaks reported on, explaining that Carti was apparently found with 12 bags of smoke, 3 guns, Xanax, codeine, and oxycodone.
Playboi Carti was riding around in his Lambo and then got pulled over by the cops for having an expired tag. The cops decided to search the car and found a couple things. Now, they found 3 guns, 12 bags of marijuana, Xanax, codeine, and oxy pills.
Even Playboi Carti have an expired tag or 2. Ain't nobody perfect. Shit. What type of gadget is that? That look like some one of them phones you get at work. That nigga Carti was on some bullshit. That nigga Carti was on some bullshit. They had like 12 APs on that lid of that Lambo.
Released by the News, showcasing the guns and drugs that they were driving around with in a Lambo sporting an expired license plate. Carti and close friend and associate Jaylon Tucker were arrested and taken to Clayton County Jail. Carti walked free with minor charges, while Tucker, also later known as Opium Baby, shouldered felony counts, with the general understanding online being that Jaylon Tucker actually took these charges on Carti's behalf, and later posting an IG story of an iced out Rolex and boasting to have just whooped the DEA in court and gotten out of jail. And seemingly as a reward for his loyalty, he's now currently listed as the co-founder and a creative at Carti's Opium Records. Okay. Anyway, a few weeks after Carti's arrest and release, a social media post shifted attention from his arrest. It was an image of Carti in a dark room, while the parental advisory sticker confused many into thinking that this was indeed an album cover. But instead, Carti broke his almost 2-year official solo release silence with a new song called Mess.
This was probably the last time I was tuned in with Carti, but like after this happened, I'm like, oh, he's bullshitting. He is a bullshitter, bro. Like, this nigga is bullshit. Like, bro, when I seen, bro, drop this pic, this is like 2017, right? First, he was doing the my stomach hurt. That's when he started the baby voice. My stomach hurt. I'm like, okay, that's kind of funny. I get it. That shit was, I get it. Like, where you going with this, right? Dialect just dropped. Then, the nigga blind, dyed his hair blonde. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay. The niggas dyed their hair. Then, the nigga dropped a video talking about, he didn't touch it. I'm like, no way they just did this. And niggas was eating it up like, yay, yay. I'm like, what the hell? This shit garbage. This shit garbage. Like,
considered an evolution to his high-pitched baby voice flow, with Complex calling the song barely understandable from a lyrical perspective. However, Meh performed well and debuted at number 35 on the charts. But the real news for fans was Carti cryptically tweeting Monday, then ghosting. Monday passed and left some fans confused and frustrated, asking on Reddit what the hell was the point of that Monday tweet. The tweet became another meme amongst fans who announced its anniversary every year. The next month, Carti would feature on Drake's Dark Lane demo tapes on the track Pain 1993. This first official collaboration between Playboi Carti and Drake, giving Carti his first top 10 hit, with Pain 1993 peaking at number 7 on the charts. But true to form, after this monumental career debut, Carti vanished once again. By November, Carti was being featured on GQ's Men of the Year, teasing fans once again, but dodging questions about the album's release day, confirming that music is coming, but regarding the album's release, simply saying we'll see. On the same day, he sent fans into a frenzy with an Instagram post with the simple caption, album turned in. Then in December, DJ...
PlayboiCarti, whole lot of red, from what I've been told.
From the jump, Carti draws lines in the cement. Rockstar Made opens up with a venomous warning to rivals shouting out Homicide Gang and their hood shouting out Backstreet. On track 3, Stop Breathing, the most infamous song of the album, the entire song is an ode to Carti's gang. Problem Child appeared truly heartbroken, posting how he felt that this was God's payback for all the dirt that he had done in the streets. Carti would pay respects to R5 on social media too. That post was followed by radio silence for about 2 months until Carti popped out once again, making a rare guest appearance, appearing on the highly anticipated lead single on Trippie Redd's 5th studio album, Trip at Night, with their song Miss the Rage. The music video was released 3 weeks later, and fans were stunned that Trippie was able to get Carti out his house for once. A couple months later, Carti would reveal that the next album he was dropping would be titled Narcissist, and suggested that it would be coming as soon as September the 13th, 2021. It did not drop. The day that Carti announced Narcissist would actually end up being a dark day for him, as his friend, fellow Homicide affiliate, the rapper R5, would pass away. R5's cause of death wouldn't immediately be released, but Problem Child would soon post an incredibly emotional message that R5 had apparently
I've been tripping, I see it, I can't stop. Bad for my head, twin. I can't take pills. Man, bro. None of us can take pharmaceuticals, bro. None of us could sip promethazine, codeine, liquid heroin. The most I'm gonna do is chief the herb, man. And this gotta be in moderation, man. It gotta be in moderation. Cause even the Zot tainted.
sent him before his passing, telling how he had been sold fake pills and his mental health appeared to be in a very dark place, telling how he couldn't stop crying and seeing death, but in the end, promising that he was going to check into a rehab facility. Unfortunately, it would appear that R5 would instead choose another way. Problem Child appeared truly heartbroken, posting how he felt that this was God's payback for all the dirt that he had done in the streets. Carti would pay respects to R5 on social media too. Meanwhile, henchmen were once again celebrating and dissing their dead rival.
So crazy, all the odds dropping like flies. What going on?
But meanwhile, Carti would keep himself busy on the music side, and about a week after R5's death, he would make 2 appearances on Kanye West's album Donda, Off the Grid, that paired Carti up with Fabio Foreign, as well as the track Junior, which also featured a part 2, considered the remix of the track, extending Carti's verse and adding Ty Dolla $ign. Ye would later say that Carti is his favourite artist, and these rare appearances allowed him to keep his name at the top of the rap game while still maintaining his aura. After this, Carti went quiet for several months, only popping out in April 2022 to give a rare...
Like, I watch a lot of this, but I know a lot of this history because I seen it with my own eyes. But he talking about Carti mysterious I Am music takeover and everything, but we already know what's going on in the industry. I think this nigga Carti did some shit like, yeah, I need to build up lore. Let me build up lore. Like Carti the type of nigga that like a go start beefing shit and go to the hood and try to spark shit off because he want to get some lore. Like, it's so easy to separate yourself from this shit because when Carti first came out, he used to be like, I ain't no gangbanger. I'm a pretty nigga. I'm a fashion. I get fly. I don't fight. I don't do nothing. I get fly. I get money. That's why I fuck with Carti because I'm like, bro, he live fly. He vacate. He travel the world. Like, this nigga live how I would want to live, right? Now you just a stepper and you shank Olaf for a pie. That was like a ritual, bro. No cap. But I hope y'all enjoyed this video. It's a longer reaction. I ain't dropping a long reaction in a minute, so try to drop this one tonight. Late night vid.